morning.
Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Paul.
How are your lips today?
Dry. This is my routine.
Every hour?
Every 5 minutes. How do you think these 39-year-old lips have stayed looking so good for so long?
So plumptious.
Because they're regularly moisturised, Paul.
Just like my face, which is why I'm so youthful.
Yeah. And if you'd like to hear more lies, go over to somebody else's channel because we don't lie. Only other than my age.
What, you mean you're not 39?
No, I'm sorry to break it to you, Paul. I'm sorry to be the harbinger of very bad news, but no, I'm actually 57 this year. I know, shock horror.
Actually, I'm 57 this year as well.
You're 57 before me.
Yeah, but I'm 57.
Am I 57 or am I 56?
You're 56. I'm 57.
Am I 57 in September?
Yeah, you're 57 in September. I'm 58 in July. Yeah.
You're 58 in July.
I'm 58 in July.
Well, you look it. That's the thing. I don't.
Yeah, but look.
What?
I'm smiling.
Don't smile.
Don't smile.
No, smiling's the worst thing you can possibly ever do, Paul.
It gives you crow's feet here.
I didn't smile throughout the whole of the 80s and wore sunglasses at every single opportunity, even in the dark.
I mean, seriously, when we met, he was wearing sunglasses in the foyer. When we then met at the interval, he was wearing sunglasses coming out of the auditorium for the interval. Were you wearing sunglasses throughout the whole show of Last Yankee?
Because
I think he most probably was.
in those days, the lights weren't all safe, Paul.
Well, they were in the auditorium. There weren't any lights on you at all during the performance. You were still wearing dark glasses.
I had shaded glasses. They weren't sunglasses. They were shaded for computer work and eye strain.
Yeah, they were. He was so intimidating on the Ticketmaster sales floor. He really was. With the dark glasses and being 6'4". Everybody literally looked up to you, metaphorically and physically. It was quite funny.
When one is making money in a sales environment, one doesn't mess around with one's staff.
There we are.
I used to have to regularly fire people and escort them from the premises because it's a money-making environment. It's cutthroat.
I mean, Ticketmaster now, of course, is huge. It's just had 500 million names hacked and all the details of people.
Yeah. I worked for them before it was that huge.
Yeah, it was on the cusp of going stratospheric, but it wasn't quite there yet.
Well, it was big in America, but the one I worked for was a franchise to begin with.
Yeah.
And then it was taken over by the Americans.
Yeah.
That's why we had such a big premises at that point when they took over. But
because
anyway,
there was a lot of Keith Prowse tickets there was then, wasn't there, which one of our friends worked for. Ticketmaster, First Call, and then...
Who I did a little bit of work for at one point.
And then...
I did some group work for you.
Yeah, you did.
Some phoning.
And then First Call sort of began to lose a bit of traction. They were based...
Anyway.
Well, they were all based in the West End. And then C-Tickets came along. And... Nick Blackburn jumped from Ticketmaster to see tickets.
Anyway,
didn't
names people don't know.
No, I know,
And
but it's
a past time that I'd rather not revisit, to be absolutely frank with you. It wasn't my happiest time.
It wasn't.
No, let's move on
to
the show, which is called
Sunday Chat.
Thank you, and as you can see, I'm dressed for summer.
It is cold in the house today.
I mean, Yeah, but in the sun outside in the back garden, it's 33 degrees.
I know, it's gorgeous outside. It's just, we've had a number of cold days, and yeah, the house is not warming up. By this time, we'd have sort of rather a nice house, because we're only 3 weeks away from midsummer. I mean, that's insane to think about.
So, with that, let's segue into Richard and Paul's weather report. That's what we do each week, and like typical Brits, we like to talk about the weather because it's so shit.
Yeah, generally it is.
In the UK, we get everybody else's weather.
Yeah, so we get America's weather.
Depending on the wind direction. So we'll either get freezing cold air from the north, very, very hot weather from the south, which obviously originates in Africa, goes over Spain, keeps on getting hotter over France, and then hits the southeast with a wall of heat. Or we get it from the Atlantic, which is from you guys in America.
Is it that way, or is it that way?
No, it's from the west.
Yeah, but for them.
West, east, WE, north, south. Come on, Paul. Or we get it from everywhere at once.
Well, we get it from Eastern Europe, which is then generally colder, apart from in the summer where it's generally hotter.
Yeah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
So we get it from all directions. So this year...
We don't create even our own weather.
No, we're not big enough. So this year we're having one of those years that feels like summer's never going to arrive.
Yeah.
We're being teased.
Teased. Absolutely.
All right, that was my word.
Well, I knew
It doesn't say on the script, Paul says teased.
Oh, no, that says Richard there. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I didn't read the script properly today.
We're
No.
teased. Teased or titillated. It doesn't refer to tits and bombs, honestly. Just take it into the gutter every time.
I do.
So yes, it's been a really, really mixed bag this week. Rain,
Changeable.
Changeable.
I
Oh,
got
coffee.
absolutely drenched at one point.
Could you go on, Paul?
I did go on,
Did
yeah.
you make a video about it?
I did do a video about it, yeah, and you'll see the segment in a week at the plot.
Segment.
I'm going to call it Thoroughly Drenched and Can't Go On.
I think you should actually call it that.
Yeah.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Just for fun, because everybody else is doing it.
Damp squib. No.
Not a damp
That's
squid then.
Not a damp squid, no. That would be, they're in the sea all the time, aren't
yes,
they?
they're always
yeah.
damp.
But no,
Moist.
I went down with my sunglasses to the plot. When was it? On Thursday or
Dunno.
Wednesday?
One of those
And
days.
I planted out beans. I sowed beans rather, and I went to water them in, and then the clouds parted. No, the clouds came over, and it just pissed down, and I got absolutely drenched. It does happen every now and again, though somebody did suggest something very, very sensible.
What?
Which is keep an umbrella in the shed.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have an umbrella in the shed, but it's my sun umbrella, the big red one. That
Your
was
parasol.
Well, it's a big sort of table umbrella, isn't it?
Parasol.
It's a big parasol. It's not one that you can easily twiddle over your shoulders, no. But yeah, maybe I should keep an umbrella in the shed. That sounds sensible to me.
Just don't take my good umbrella that I use for work, which I've used several times this week because of the rain.
But you haven't got drenched, have you? You've been sensible.
No, because I always carry either a small fold-up umbrella in my bag or the large one in the event of heavy showers.
There we are. So, and what will the next week bring? I've got no idea because I've been so busy I haven't even looked at the weather.
It's, I think, again, due to be cooler. I think today's the warmest day. And then... and rain. More rain.
I mean, it is... I don't know what the records are for May yet, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't one of the wettest Mays on record.
Anywho, let's move on with the show. So, what's on the menu today?
I don't know. It's in your book. See, I haven't got that far in the script yet.
I'm not moving very quickly this morning because, frankly, I'm absolutely shattered as well.
Yeah.
I stayed up for you last night, didn't I, Paul?
You
to
did.
Be there for you when you got home.
Yeah, and when I parked the
After
car
your
up, he
long-
came and he opened the door. Oh, that was so kind of you.
Well, it was.
Otherwise, I'd have had to have got my key out of my pocket, which would have been really,
Yeah, all
really
right.
difficult.
God, get the violins out. So this week has been a short week because it was Bank Holiday Monday last Monday.
That
And then-
feels like ages ago.
I know, an eternity away.
Yeah.
And then I was off on Tuesday, which you will have seen in my daily vlogs.
Right, yeah, you were.
Yeah, and I said in my daily vlogs, it was a short week. Felt like a long one.
Yeah, sometimes
Why is
they do,
it?
don't they?
Every time.
Well, I
you'll
think also
find-
when you're off, what happens is people they cover your job, but what they actually do is they do the bare minimum, of your job because they still have to do their job as well.
Bare minimum.
So when you get back, you
Yeah.
need to catch up with
Yeah.
sort of 75% of
Yeah.
the work that wasn't done,
Yeah.
and it's usually the difficult bits that only you really know how to do best. And yeah.
Go on about it. Going on and on and on.
Oh, God, you don't want me to go on, do you?
No, I don't.
He
Don't go
doesn't want me to go on.
But
yeah.
Paul, tell us a story.
Once upon a time.
So, Paul, you had the event down at the Great Green Barn with Anne Reid last night, which was the Great Green Barn's first music event.
Yeah, it's we had the it was used for refreshments and also for some Morris dancing earlier in the year,
Which you saw on social media, and you can follow us on social media. What is that?
It's children.
Oh, the window's open. Oh, God, we're being interrupted by brats.
So
I better
there's
shut
more.
the window.
There's
I better
more.
shut it because somebody will start doing some work on their house. It's guaranteed. Do excuse me.
So-
Shut up!
So yes, we were preparing for the event on Saturday, and I was down there on Friday all day, making sure that we had printouts for things, sort of drinks menu lists, things for the tables, and we were setting the tables. And as it's the first time that we've had a dinner, well, any sort of tables up really, in the Great Green Barn, we had to sort of work out a table plan, and we thought we knew what would work, and then when we set up the tables of 8, it didn't, and we had to take a table of 8 away and put in 2 tables of 4.
Yeah, alright, details.
And but these are details that are really important because we had to allow for service, people being served at the table by the waiters and the waitresses, and so we did all of that. And then on Saturday, which was yesterday, I went down, I picked up Stefan Bednarczyk, who was the accompanist that does this cabaret with Anne Reid. I picked him up at Guildford Station. The last time we worked together was about 22 years ago, I think, on the Glee Club at the Bush Theatre. He was the musical director of that. So it was really nice to see him again after a long break. And then we went to the Great Green Barn and the event kicked off. Anne arrived in her car. She was driven down in a car, and they did their rehearsal, and then we realised that we needed some extra batteries for a light that he had for the piano, so I went off to get that.
Are you going to give us a list of all the things you did?
I am. No, I'm not. But it was full on from sort of getting there at 4:30 through to leaving about 11:15 last night, and the event went really well. I mean, it's been a huge learning curve for future events. Though I think the 78 people that we had that had paid for the event really enjoyed the event. The waiting staff were all fabulous, as were all of our volunteers, so that was really great. In terms of certain things like parking and just the movement of people, there are things that we learnt last night that will be very, very useful for future events. So yeah. And the food was by Georgios of the Life Goddess, which is a great restaurant, Greek restaurant in Store Street in London. And the cabaret was just lovely. And, you know, it was Anne and Stefan with anecdotes and, you know, sort of stories of other people and not only their own lives. And obviously there was lots of singing. It was a lovely evening.
Did you
it
tell
really
me
was
stories
lovely.
about Victoria Wood?
I think that there was something that I learned about Victoria Wood, but I don't think there was. I think there was one anecdote in there.
Did she do any Victoria Wood songs?
Well, I was still working outside for much of the cabaret, so I didn't see the whole cabaret through, which was about an hour and 15.
That's what happens when you work on an event.
Absolutely, you know, you
don't see the event.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about working the box office, you know, if you're just working the box office, because actually you work the box office, then you can either watch the event or go home as well.
Yeah.
Where whilst all this was going on, while the cabaret itself was going on after the Greek dinner, we were moving sort of bottles of alcohol and wine stuff to another area to make sure that when people came out of the Great Green Barn, which looked fantastic, they had, you know, they could just walk through the courtyard and then walk to their cars and go home, rather than it look as though it was sort of, you know, the afters of an event going on. So yeah, it was all clean and tidy when everyone came out. So that was great. I haven't spoken to Caroline O'Neill, who's an actress. You'll know her as Mrs. Thursday in Endeavour. She was there. She's a very good friend of Anne Reid, and I dropped Caroline back to Guildford Station because she was getting the train. So we had a little chat on the way back of what she thought, and we'll be chatting more. And she'll let me know. You know, she'll let us all know how Anne and Stefan enjoyed the evening. So yeah, it was great.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But as I say, a huge learning curve, really was. So useful, and sold out. In fact, oversold. I think we could most probably have done with maybe 4 or 6 people less to sit. It would have made the flow of serving a bit easier. But yeah, all generally went well, especially for a first event like that, which was quite a big event. Not big in size, but big in the amount of organisation that was needed.
Excellent, Paul. I'm very, very delighted. I was invited.
You were?
Unfortunately, due to my CBA syndrome, I couldn't attend because I couldn't be asked. No, that's not true. That's not true.
Oh, dear.
I did think about it and I thought, well, I'm going to get roped into doing something, so I'm going to be on my feet all afternoon and then won't see the event, and I didn't fancy working on my day off.
No, I think that's fair enough.
I did a few bits and pieces around the house yesterday, as usual. A few bits of washing, gardening, cooking, made myself a risotto. No. Pasta. No, it was risotto the night before.
He made me a risotto.
I had a pasta last night, and I sat watching television for a good number of hours. But more on what we've watched on television later in the show, coming up soon.
Yeah,
in
later.
a minute.
Yeah, about 10 minutes really.
So, in the news this week, Paul, our illustrious Prime Minister continues to be a complete not a twat.
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, I know
if you want the definition of a twat, just look at our Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Really?
There are
Really?
American equivalents, of course,
yes, we won't
which we
mention
know only
those.
too well, who try and say things that aren't true and generally gets away with it.
We're not going into that.
But yes, I mean, unbelievably, this is how disconnected our the whole of the cabinet and the whole of the Conservative Party is with real people. So Rishi Sunak, who is currently the Prime Minister,
Make it quick.
goes to one of the poorest areas in the United Kingdom to talk to them about how they are benefiting, how the common person is benefiting. And he wears a backpack that costs 750 quid. Going to one of the poorest areas in the UK.
What kind of backpack was it?
I don't know. I don't know backpacks that cost 750
How did you know
quid.
it cost 750
Because it's
quid?
been reported, and it is 750 quid. So he's gone with something that nobody in the constituency he visited could afford, telling them how their life is getting better, and he's got a £750 backpack on. I mean, you couldn't make it
Yeah,
up.
but what was the icing on the cake?
The icing on the cake
He travelled
is
there
that
by train.
he went there by train and made a big thing about travelling by train and how wonderful it is to travel by train.
Blah, blah, blah.
Then he got a private helicopter back.
Sensible.
You know, I mean, you just could not make all of these things up. I mean, you know, having being on an aeroplane as he was last week with exit signs over his head.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, they're sort of going on about inflation, how inflation has come down. And I said not so long ago, a few months ago, you watch what happens. There's going to start to be a price war with the supermarkets.
Yeah.
They're all going to start competing with each other, because this always happens when we've had some kind of recession or cost of living crisis, because we've been here before several times that we can remember. And what's happening now is the supermarkets are all competing for our business, but are doing those underhanded things that supermarkets do.
Yeah.
You know, and I've made a note here. Always check your prices. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in a moment. Always check your prices, because remember, it's not a saving. If a marketing campaign has convinced you that you need it, and B, you wouldn't normally buy it.
Yeah.
It's not a saving.
Yeah.
Don't be duped by those words. Save £20 if you buy this. No, you're being convinced that you need it. It's not what you'd normally buy.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's a loss. It's not a saving.
Yeah. We
You
go
know?
back to that need and want thing that we have talked about
It's like those
quite a long time.
buy one, get one free campaigns that they did. You used to always check the prices. So we'd be going around the supermarket, and me, thicko me, I'd be like, oh, look, Paul, it's 2 for 1. And you'd go, yeah, but look at the price, the equivalent price. It's not, we're not saving. You're not saving anything.
And last week that was the same price, and now they put the price up so that they can discount it and say that they're doing 2 for 1.
It's just not
It doesn't
true.
work.
The
And
only-
also, you know, Pampers nappies apparently are on a good discount at the moment. We wouldn't go out and buy them. We don't use them. So, you know, that's a very, very clear thing we do not need, we do not want.
Not yet,
And
anyway.
therefore, well, no, maybe in a few years, but they won't they'll need to be large ones. You know, don't go out and buy something just because it's on a 2 for 1
I
offer.
think we can
because,
get adult
you know, it's
Pampers.
Can you?
Yeah.
Well, there we are.
Yeah, for that long journey.
For that long journey. Pampoos, they should call them.
Car journey.
Yeah.
Or music festival. Very handy. I wonder how much of a wee you can fit in one.
Oh, well, I think Mum said you can fit quite a wee into to them.
Yeah, but a big man wee.
Yeah.
That's why they have 10 a man.
Yeah.
This is not a paid promotion. So,
But also, there's been they've been talking about. I mean, I shop at Lidl mainly, and with Lidl they have certain things that if you reach a certain level, you might get a free bakery item, or if you reach something else, you'll get free something else, like a box of cereal or something.
or a chocolate doodah.
Yeah, chocolate brownies he likes. He likes that level. But there's also a thing that if you reach a certain spend level, you get 10% off your next shop. And I was like £6 away from this spend level the other day, and I thought, that 10% off would be quite good. But our general shops are around,
The sun's going in.
yeah,
Are we
25,
going too
30
dark?
quid. No,
No.
25 or 30 quid. So 10% off your next shop would be like 2.50, 3 quid. But I'd need to spend another £6 to get that discount. And I was thinking, well, actually, it's not worth me going to the shop to spend 6 quid and come back. It just makes no sense. Because my saving, if it was like 10% saving over the next 2 weeks or something, that would have been worth it. But just 10% for my next shop wasn't going to be worth it.
But I still think it's measly. It's very measly.
But margins
Aren't we pleased with such little things?
Oh
Do you know what I mean?
we are generally.
It's like
yeah.
if they said to you, spend this and get 20 quid off your next shop equivalent of, I don't know, 200
Whatever.
quid or whatever. That would be worth it,
Well, yeah,
But it's never meaty, is it? It's never really meaty
no,
and
not usually.
good value.
And also all these loyalty cards that you have, they actually, it's best to have loyalty cards for a number of different supermarkets if you are with them, because you'll very often find that what has happened now is the discounts that you used to get when you went into a supermarket, whether you were a member or not, that those discounts, which are actually discounts with the manufacturer, the manufacturer is trying to push a product and put a discount on it, that those are now held within membership of a loyalty card. So where you used to go in and maybe, let's say for higgledy pies or something, you would get £1 off. That £1 off was available to anyone who shopped and wanted a higgledy pie. Now what happens is it's put into the membership of Sainsbury's and Tesco's and Morrison's and whatever. So unless you have their loyalty card, which for Sainsbury's is a Nectar card, Nectar price, you don't get that discount. So they try and get you to sign up to the membership. But the membership isn't something that Sainsbury's or Tesco's is giving you. It's still actually a discount from the manufacturer. So, have loyalty card. If you shop at various supermarkets, have loyalty cards for them all.
It's like these channels that do shopping haul videos, and I know they're really,
I can't bear them.
They're really popular.
Yeah, I can't bear them.
But very often, to me, if it's going to be a haul, it's going to be a load of stuff that you use that is really well discounted and is a genuine bargain.
Yeah.
A genuine bargain. For example, when we used to go shopping together many, many years ago to Morrison's down at Brentford, the first place we would go to would be the reduced section, because they would have yellow ticket items that were very often really, really well discounted, that were still in date and could go into the freezer.
Yeah.
Things that we would use. But I've seen some of these shopping haul videos and it just looks like a load of tat that somebody's bought just because it was supposedly discounted. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you just buy a load of stuff and not actually know what you're going to use it for just because it was discounted? I don't get that. Because very often it's a load of plastic tat, a load of chemical stuff for doing your house cleaning or whatever else. Just stuff because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It doesn't work. It really doesn't work.
I get buying something that you regularly buy.
Yeah.
And it's been on offer and it's a good offer because it has come down in price.
Yeah.
And I get that. I will occasionally buy washing liquid if I see it's a little bit cheaper than normal.
Mm-hmm.
But only if it's cheaper and only based on what I've spent before, which I know because usually it's an online shop. So
Yeah.
you can go back and you can check the price.
Yeah. People that go out and buy a whole load of stuff in a shopping hall, and it's stuff they don't normally get and they're not going to use, that is wasting money. And there are so many channels that do this. And it's like, you are not giving information which is worthwhile to people through your channel. What you're doing is you're buying tat that is just going to end up in landfill, and you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. And people who do the same shopping haul of their food week after week after week, I mean, you know, get a life.
Baby.
I don't watch them.
Poor little baby.
I know.
All annoyed and
I am.
That's better. Lovely, Paul. So let's move on to the next segment, which is my word of the week. Oh, let's see what intellectual joy there is in store for me.
Maybe it'll be something like buttons.
This is unrehearsed. I've not looked at today's date. Today is the 2nd of June.
2nd of June.
Dressed for winter.
Oh
So-
yes, we are in meteorological summer.
We are in summer
Absolutely,
now.
yeah.
Absolutely. 2nd of June. Oh,
Oh, it's buttons.
okay. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
But you never are.
Well, I know, but as I was taught, you break down the word. Nim-iety. Nimiety.
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 N for Nigel. I-M for mother. I-E-T-Y. Nimiety.
Well, of course, I immediately think it must be something to do with nimbleness because it starts with nim. But I'm sure that will be wrong. Nim is also numbers in one language, I know that. So it could be something to do with numbers. No, I don't know.
Okay, let's get on with it, shall we? On this day in 1834, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, is that how you say it? Coleridge? Coleridge is recorded as having remarked, there is a nimiety, a too-muchness in all Germans. It is the national fault.
Oh, right.
In brackets, to be fair, he was talking specifically and with amusing rudeness about the poetry of Schiller.
Right.
Schiller's blank verse is bad. He moves in it as a fly in a glue bottle. But how pleasant that there exists a word for too muchness or excess, redundancy,
Superfluosity.
Superfluity.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
right.
It doesn't help that I haven't got my reading glasses on either, so I can barely see it. From the Latin nimius, excessive, via the English nimius, ditto, nimiety, or too muchness, is the lesser known opposite of
Satiety.
satiety. How do you say it?
Satiety.
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 Meaning sufficiency. Satiated.
Satiated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it satiety?
Satiety. Must be satiety. Need to be careful on that one.
And I thought I was good at English.
Oh dear.
Meaning sufficiency, particularly in terms of having had enough to eat. But regrettable overindulgence at dinner is hardly the only context in which the word may earn its keep.
Are we back to
when it's
nimiety?
just all too much, cry nimiety.
So at the moment we have
Too muchness.
a nimiety of politicians on our televisions and devices.
And very soon, Paul, you'll have a nimiety of tomatoes.
I won't.
Why not? You normally
I
do.
will not. We will
No,
not.
we'll have a nemeity of courgettes.
Not even sure about that. What there is at the moment, of course, and all you growers will know this, is a nemeity of slugs and snails.
Oh, how lovely.
Which are causing
Snails for dinner.
a deficiency in the number of plants to give us a sufficiency of harvests to savour.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah.
Whatever. So there we are.
A nemeity of slugs and snails and Germans.
Nemeity.
There we are.
Thank you for watching.
Perfect.
Goodbye. So, final segment of the week is what have we watched on television this week? It's been quite an interesting week of TV.
It has been.
We started the week with a couple of episodes of the new BBC adaptation of Enid Blyton's The Famous Five, with Julian, Dick, Anne and George, and of course Timmy the dog, and Aunt Fanny and Uncle Quentin. So
We actually caught up, didn't we? Because there was an episode that we hadn't known anything about
I was just
in
about to
April.
say that. We watched the first episode, which was Christmas, and then the second episode was out in March,
Oh, Mark.
and we hadn't seen that.
I guess that was Easter.
So we watched episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They're an amalgamation of elements of the Enid Blyton books. Set in the 30s, that's what we established because it was before
World War
World War II and after the invention of television, which was 1928. Because television is mentioned, the build up to the war is mentioned, so we guess it's set in the 30s.
Yeah.
Mid-30s. And
Into late, maybe.
quite enjoyable because the thing I really like about it is there's a mixed cast. So George is mixed race and Fanny is black, which of course for the time would probably have been quite unusual, but we get the impression that Aunt Fanny is probably very well educated. Yeah, that's the impression I get.
Yeah.
That she probably went to an English school, was very well educated. So you can kind of see how they have put that together to make it sort of believable.
Yeah.
Which is good. And the other thing I really like about it, which sort of gives it this semi-modern feel, is the score, the music. It's very, very modern.
And very upfront.
It's electronic, it's beaty, it's a bit trancey. So it doesn't jar at all. It kind of just feels right. The titles are kind of quite colourful and very unique because you get the same name.
Are they very unique
different
or just unique?
They're unique. You get the same name, I've noticed, in different fonts flashing up.
In different colours.
And different colours. So it's all, it's a
I
little
think
bit different.
It's light and enjoyable and has moments of tension. I think both episodes could be maybe 10 or 15 minutes shorter. I think they must be around 2 hours.
I think the direction's fairly good.
Yeah.
It's quite clever because throughout you kind of sort of, I'm sort of picking a few holes here and there. But by the time the end arrives, you find that it's lulled you into a sort of comfort state.
Yes.
And the theme tune is quite nice in the respect that it's quite sweet. And by the end of it, you're kind of thinking, I quite enjoyed that. And the reason we're watching The Famous Five is because I was a fan of The Famous Five as a child. You read The Secret Seven. I didn't read The Secret Seven. So I liked Enid Blyton. There were various adaptations. There were some
As we grew up.
cassettes. There was a modern TV adaptation.
Do you remember
in the 70s?
those things where you'd look through and you'd go like that?
Viewmaster.
Viewmaster. There was some of those as well.
What,
where you
Famous
followed.
Five?
Yeah. Or maybe it was Secret Seven.
So yeah, it has a nostalgic appeal to ours. So that's the reason we were choosing to watch it, and quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
Whether there will be any more, I don't know.
I mean, I think
Because
there
they're
can
growing
be.
up pretty quickly. Those
They
kids.
are. They are. They are
That's
indeed.
the thing about
Child
filming
actors.
children.
They grow up because, of course, many of the sort of kids that are playing, actors that are playing 9, 10, 11-year-olds are actually sort of 13, 15. They just look younger. So, they can sort of age quite quickly, which is, of course, something Richard hasn't done. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My secret?
Never smiling.
Don't smile.
And do not laugh.
No.
At all.
Because frankly, nothing's that funny.
No, it's not. Definitely not. No, I know some
Certainly,
things that are.
nothing is that funny. So yeah, that was good. Enjoyed that. We've started the season 2 of Outer Range.
Yes.
Which is very interesting.
We really enjoyed it. I think it was last year or maybe 18 months ago. And the recap for the first season, there were certain bits where we went, I don't remember that. But I think by the end of the first episode of the second season, we'd sort of caught up with the characters.
We've got the drift.
The main characters we know, and it's sort of about time travel, which is something that we like. So, yeah. Definitely worth a watch.
Paul decided to suggest a show, Ted Lasso.
Yes.
And I went, I don't think so. It's about football.
Yeah.
Really.
Now, football...
And actually, it's not about football.
No, football is not something that either of us are interested in. Despite me having worked for Kenwright, where Everton was part of the daily life of Bill Kenwright Limited. But there is a character and actor in there that I've worked with, Hannah Waddingham, and I thought, we'll give it a go. And yes, it's totally about football, but it's all about the characters, the emotions.
It's really anything about football, really.
It's just
about relationships.
It's lovely.
It's about how coaches do not need to be experts in that particular field. They need to know a little bit about it, but they don't. It's about how they get that team to work together.
It's team building.
To relate to each other and to make the most of the team effort in order to win.
And we're a good, 6 or 7 episodes into the first series.
It's really
and
good.
Enjoying it.
Really good.
Yeah. I'm finding it quite emotional. There's some real sort of rending moments, joyously heart-rending moments, in a similar way to Schitt's Creek has those moments where suddenly there's that a character has just learned something and there's some more emotion in there and more understanding. So yeah, enjoying it.
I haven't found it emotional.
Well, it's because you've been asleep at those points, I think. Yeah.
Or I'm just cold and dead-hearted.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, I smiled. God, quick.
That's added 5 years.
Vaseline. 5 years.
Oh.
Well, that's just plunged my age upwards by about 10 years.
The light's gone off,
Cut.
Richard.
I can't continue without good lighting.
It can't go on.
Look, I've aged by 10 years.
Oh, I look quite youthful, actually.
Yeah, because you're in the dark. Service is now resumed. Thank God.
It's a bit like time travel because you've lost 5 years again, haven't you?
So, yeah, Ted Lasso, recommended. We continue with Loop.
That's Apple. Ted Lasso.
Apple TV. Famous Five can be found on BBC iPlayer for those of you who can view it. And Outer Ranges,
Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Ted Lasso, Apple. Loot is Apple TV. You said we concluded.
I think we
season
concluded season 2. Yeah, I think we have.
Mm.
I mean, lovely. Again, funny, joyous. Yeah, and sentimental and emotional. Yeah, whole package. And the actors, the characters, the story, all great.
Good. I last night tuned into a lovely little channel that I found called That's 60s, which is all 60s music, and I do love 60s music. I mean, I'm not particularly into the Rolling Stones, I'm not particularly into the Beatles, but there's quite a lot of other music out there from the 60s, I think you'll find. The decade we were born in.
Yeah, well, I was, yeah. If you're only 39, I think you're...
The decade you were born in, Paul.
Yeah.
No. I was born in the 60s, you were born in the 60s. We are Gen X.
Yeah.
Hi there, Gen Xers.
So that was...
Baby boomers.
You were watching that when I came home, and you made me a cup of tea, and we carried on watching it. And it was, it had things like The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore, and a whole load of stuff.
Loads of stuff.
And it was actually
really enjoyable.
The year I was born, and they did play. I can't remember what it is. I have to look up, but I do know what the song was the week I was born. You know what number 1 was the week I was born, and I can't remember it at the moment.
So we were up quite late. There you go. Go figure. That's why we're feeling so tired this morning. We don't normally stay up that late.
No.
Do we? 12:30
Normally
is
well asleep
very
by
late
then.
for us.
Yeah.
Very, very late. Yeah.
But there we are.
Anywho, that's it for this week.
Have I got news for you?
Have I got news for you? We also watched
Victoria Coren Mitchell
hosting it.
Yeah.
But that was
a good one. Yeah.
So thank you
Is
for
that
watching.
it? Are we going
That's
now?
it. We're going now. I think it's been far too long. I think you'll find, Paul.
Said the actress to the bishop.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Bananas!
Tits and bombs.
Yeah.
Take care. Toodle pip au revoir. We'll see you again very soon.
Wait in a week's time
Yes.
for more Sunday Chat!